Every morning, millions of seniors with high blood sugar wake up, skip the bread, skip the rice, skip the fruit, and eat almost nothing because they believe that cutting carbohydrates is the only path to lower numbers, and their blood sugar stays high anyway. I have seen it hundreds of times in my clinic. Patients doing everything they were told. Eating less, restricting more, suffering through meals they do not enjoy. And their fasting glucose still sits stubbornly above 150, 160, sometimes higher. They are not failing because they lack discipline. They are failing because they were handed the wrong tool for the job. Here is what almost nobody explains in a 12-minute clinic appointment. Fixing blood sugar is not primarily about what you take away. It is about what you add. And the 5 foods I am going to share with you today do something that cutting carbohydrates alone never will. They reverse insulin resistance at the cellular level. They hand your body back the ability it was designed to have. Stay with me because by the time we reach food number 5, you will understand your blood sugar in a way that most patients never do. My name is Dr. Williams James. I have practiced geriatric and metabolic medicine for 25 years. I have sat across from thousands of seniors managing diabetes and prediabetes, many of them frightened, many of them exhausted by restriction, and many of them convinced that a lifetime of medication was simply inevitable. I am here today to tell you that for a significant number of those patients, it was not inevitable. It was a missing piece of information. And today, I am giving you that information directly. Here is the biology that most clinic visits never have time to explain. High blood sugar almost never starts with sugar itself. It starts upstream with a hormone called insulin. Insulin is the key that unlocks your cells so that glucose, the sugar circulating in your blood, can leave the bloodstream and enter the cell where your body actually uses it for energy. When everything works correctly, insulin knocks on the cell door and the cell opens immediately. But after years of blood sugar spikes, inflammation, and poor dietary signals, something changes. The cell stops answering. Insulin knocks and the door stays shut. Your pancreas responds by producing even more insulin trying to force the issue. Blood sugar climbs regardless, and the standard medical response is a prescription that pushes more insulin into a system already overwhelmed by it. Researchers call this insulin resistance, and it is the root cause underlying the vast majority of type 2 diabetes cases in older adults. The National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases confirms that insulin resistance precedes and drives type 2 diabetes in most patients, often for years before the diagnosis is ever made. The 5 foods I am about to share do not work by starving your body. They work by directly addressing insulin resistance itself. Each one does one of 3 specific jobs: slowing the rate at which sugar enters your blood, cooling the chronic inflammation that keeps your cells deaf to insulin, or waking the insulin receptor back up so your own body does the work it was always designed to do. Think of your cells like houses on a quiet street. Insulin is the postal worker delivering a package called glucose. When everything is healthy, the door opens on the first knock and the package gets delivered immediately. Insulin resistance is what happens when every house on that street has stopped opening the door. The postal worker knocks louder and more frantically. Packages pile up on the street, which is your bloodstream, and blood sugar climbs because the glucose has nowhere to go. Every food I am about to share either fixes the door, clears the pileup, or helps the postal worker knock more effectively. None of them require you to stop eating the foods you love. They require you to start adding the foods your cells have been waiting for. The first food is fenugreek seeds, and if you walk past this one because it sounds unfamiliar, you are walking past one of the most powerful blood sugar tools available in any grocery store for less than the cost of a cup of coffee. Fenugreek seeds are packed with a soluble fiber called galactomannan. When this fiber enters your stomach, it absorbs water and swells into a thick gel. That gel physically slows how fast your stomach empties carbohydrates into your small intestine. Slower emptying means glucose trickles into your blood gradually instead of flooding it all at once. No flood means no giant spike. No spike means no panic response from your pancreas. Beyond the fiber, fenugreek contains a specific amino acid that nudges your pancreas to release insulin more efficiently and helps your muscle cells pull glucose out of the blood more effectively. Clinical studies have shown meaningful reductions in fasting blood sugar within 1 to 2 weeks of consistent use. Soak 1 teaspoon of whole seeds in a glass of water overnight. Drink the water and eat the softened seeds before breakfast. If the slightly bitter taste is a barrier, Grind them and stir half a teaspoon into plain yogurt instead. The second food is Ceylon cinnamon, not the cinnamon sitting in your spice rack right now. The distinction matters more than most people realize. Common grocery store cinnamon is called cassia cinnamon, and it contains a compound called coumarin that stresses the liver when consumed daily in meaningful amounts. The cinnamon you want is Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes labeled true cinnamon. It is gentler, it is safer for daily use, and it is the specific variety supported by the clinical research. What makes Ceylon cinnamon effective is a group of plant compounds called polyphenols that behave almost like insulin themselves inside the body. They help your insulin receptors grip glucose more tightly, and they slow stomach emptying after a carbohydrate meal. Research from the Human Nutrition Program at the United States Department of Agriculture found that less than half a teaspoon daily meaningfully lowered fasting glucose in adults with type 2 diabetes. A quarter to half a teaspoon stirred into your morning coffee or oatmeal is enough. Pair it specifically with a carbohydrate-containing meal because that is precisely the moment you want those receptors gripping harder. The third food surprises almost every patient I discuss it with. It is broccoli sprouts. Not mature broccoli. The tiny 3-day-old sprouts that most people walk straight past in the produce section. Ignore that distinction and you miss almost the entire benefit because broccoli sprouts contain between 50 and 100 times more of the active compound than a full-grown head of broccoli. That compound is called sulforaphane, and it does something none of the other foods on this list do quite as directly. It travels to your liver and quiets the overnight glucose factory. Here is something most seniors managing blood sugar have never been told. Your liver produces glucose while you sleep. In insulin resistance, it produces far too much of it, which is why so many people wake up with a high fasting number despite not eating a single thing overnight. A 2017 study from Lund University in Sweden found that concentrated sulforaphane measurably reduced fasting blood sugar with the strongest results in the people whose numbers were hardest to control. A small handful, roughly a quarter cup, eaten raw on a salad or sandwich most days is sufficient. Do not cook them at high heat. Heat destroys the active compound before it can do its work. If what you are hearing is already reshaping the way you think about managing your blood sugar, subscribe to this channel right now. Every week, I bring you the information that a 12-minute clinic appointment simply cannot cover. Glucose releases slowly and steadily over hours, rather than spiking within 30 minutes of eating. Beyond the fiber, chia seeds contain plant-based omega-3 fatty acids that directly reduce the chronic low-grade inflammation underlying insulin resistance. And as I explained earlier, inflammation is one of the primary reasons your cells stopped answering the insulin signal in the first place. Cool the inflammation and the receptors begin functioning again. 1 to 2 tablespoons daily stirred into yogurt, blended into a smoothie, or mixed into a glass of water with lemon is enough. Allow 10 minutes for the gel to form before consuming and drink plenty of water alongside, because all of that fiber needs adequate fluid to move effectively through your system. A patient named Constance came to see me at 64, 18 months after her doctor had told her it was time to add a second blood sugar medication. Her fasting glucose was consistently sitting around 175. She was terrified. She had watched her mother navigate the same disease for 20 years, losing first her feeling in her feet, then her independence, and eventually her eyesight. Constance had already cut bread, rice, and most fruit from her diet. She was eating almost nothing she enjoyed, and her numbers had barely moved. When we reviewed her diet together, the problem became clear immediately. She had been removing foods without adding the ones her insulin receptors actually needed. We did not restrict further. We added Ceylon cinnamon in her morning coffee, fenugreek seeds soaked overnight and consumed before breakfast, half an avocado with her eggs every morning, a tablespoon of chia seeds in her afternoon yogurt, and broccoli sprouts on her lunch sandwich 3 days a week. Within the first 10 days, her fasting numbers began dropping. Within 3 months, working carefully alongside her primary physician who was monitoring her levels throughout the process, Constance had come off the second medication entirely. Her A1C moved from the diabetic range back toward normal. 2 years later, it has held. She told me at her last appointment, "Dr. James, I spent 2 years eating less and feeling worse. Nobody ever told me I needed to eat more of the right things." That gap in information is exactly why this video exists. Here's your practical starting point beginning tonight. Tomorrow morning, replace your cereal or toast with 2 to 3 whole eggs and half an avocado. That single swap changes how your blood sugar behaves for the entire rest of the day, not just at breakfast. Tonight, soak 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds in a glass of water. Drink the water and eat the softened seeds before your first meal tomorrow morning. Purchase Ceylon cinnamon at your next grocery trip and begin a 1/4 teaspoon daily in your coffee or oatmeal. Start small and build gradually. Add 1 tablespoon of chia seeds to your yogurt or a glass of water daily. Give it 10 minutes to gel before consuming. And find broccoli sprouts in your produce section this week. A small handful eaten raw on a salad or sandwich 3 to 4 times per week delivers a measurable impact on your overnight fasting numbers within 2 to 3 weeks. Stack these additions gradually over the next 2 weeks. You are not removing the foods you love. You are building the nutritional foundation your insulin receptors have been missing. One critical safety note. If you are currently taking insulin or a sulfonylurea medication, these foods work fast enough that your blood sugar may drop lower than your current medication dose anticipates. Do not adjust your medication on your own. Bring this information to your doctor at your very next appointment and ask them to monitor your numbers closely as you make these additions. Let them walk your dose down as your body improves. That partnership between your food choices and your medical care is what produces safe and lasting results. Your cells did not permanently stop working. They stopped listening because the signals they were receiving gave them no reason to respond. These 5 foods change those signals. Meal after meal, day after day, the cell that has been ignoring the knock at the door slowly starts opening it again. Constance is not exceptional. She simply received information that her previous appointments never had time to deliver. And now so have you. High blood sugar does not have to define the rest of your life. It does not have to mean a lifetime of restriction, a growing list of medications, and a shrinking sense of what you can eat and enjoy. It means your body needs specific support that most diets are not providing. Now you know what that support looks like. I want to ask you one question in the comments right now. What is your morning fasting blood sugar number this week? Tell me. I read every comment on this channel, and your number genuinely shapes the content I create next. You are not just a viewer here. You are part of a community of seniors taking their health seriously together. Please share this video with someone you love who is managing blood sugar or has been told they are pre-diabetic. What they learn here could change the direction of their health before it becomes a crisis. Subscribe and stay close. Next time we are going to talk about the specific morning habits that silently push blood sugar higher before you eat a single bite. And most of them will genuinely surprise you. Your body is not broken. It is waiting for the right signal. Start giving it one today. Everything I have shared today is general medical information based on published research and clinical experience. It is not a personal diagnosis or a replacement for care from your own doctor. If you are currently taking medication for blood sugar or diabetes, never adjust or stop your prescription without first consulting your physician. Always speak with your healthcare provider before making significant changes to your diet or health routine.